Hello, Coach Brenda Hare here. I'm going to talk to you today about all the different types of writing you can expect to do as a writer, which ones you should do first and why, and how to then expand or shrink on those. So, here we go. As a writer, many people think that being a writer is just sitting down and writing a book. And while that certainly is part of being a writer, there are so many more aspects to it. Now, it also depends on what kind of writer you are. But here's a variety of the different types of writing out there. So, one is obviously books. I have my little cheat sheet here too. So, books, blogs, blurbs, which, if you're not familiar with what that is what's on your back cover. We call this the blurb. Um, very also aka back cover copy, right? So it's also called back cover copy. Speeches, you may write speeches, which we'll talk about here in a moment. Marketing posts, so you may write the post copy, you may write the graphic copy. What's actually, when I say copy, I'm talking about the words. So you may be writing the words that are going on graphics, you may be writing the words that are going in a post. You may be writing emails along with those. And then maybe product descriptions. If you have a website where you're putting products in yourself or your book in, you may be taking that back cover copy and putting it over there, or writing a unique product description depending on your product. So there's a lot of different types of writing. Then, of course, there's technical writing and all of these other things, but we're talking about an author's world today. So for me as an author, I do all of the above, all of those things, as well as I write devotionals for the Writer's Retreat box, which, if you're not familiar with, is a brand new box that just launched this week for writers. It's a retreat in a box that will be delivered to your door. If you're interested, let me know in the comments and I'll be sure to get you a link. But they are in that box are all these goodies that you would receive, like as if you were going to a retreat, all the goodies that you would receive, as well as a devotional and some writing exercises to take you deeper in that retreat time. It's truly a writer's retreat in a box. And so I'm writing the content for that, not just the devotional side of it, but also the writing exercises. So that's part of my author business, because as an author, I write in several different genres. Christian living is my main genre for these books here. And then I also write in author reference books. So these are the first two in this series. And then at the top here, I've co-authored some business books. If you're interested in those, let me know and I'll drop the links in the comments. But so I've done a lot of different types of writing already, but what I know for sure is that that's not all the writing there is. You've got to know how to write your bio, your speeches, your introductions, right? So many things are a dedication, acknowledgments. There's so many pieces that you have to learn how to write a copyright page. That's really, really important. But knowing the difference between some of these pieces and how to, multiply your efforts, if you will, without multiplying your workload. So here's what I mean by that. Let's just take a speech, for instance. I love that my pastor, he does not consider himself a writer, yet he hand writes out all of his sermons, every word, and then he goes back through and like highlights points. When I first spoke at our church, he asked me to do that, and I was like, what? That's not how I write a speech. I write a speech in bullet points. So very different writing styles. But here's the thing, because he already wrote it out as a speech, I find it very fascinating that he doesn't consider himself a writer, because it's very similar. The content's already there. Now you just need to take it to editing, right? So maybe you're one of those people. Maybe you enjoy writing speeches better than you enjoy writing a book or writing what you think is book content. Go ahead and write the speeches. I enjoy writing blog posts because they seem very short and focused and to the point. But here's the thing, a lot of times I'll write a blog post knowing that this topic is a bigger piece or part of the bigger piece in a book. And so I enjoy writing the blog post more than I enjoy thinking about writing 60,000 words in a book, because it's a smaller chunk. And so for me, it's easier to dive into that smaller chunk sometimes. And so you have to decide on what type of writing you love. Maybe you like writing social media posts. A lot of people do, right? Because there's a lot of social media posts going on, and they're usually short and to the point. sometimes they're not so short and to the point, sometimes they're much longer. And if that's you, it's time to write a book. But if you're one of those people that enjoy writing short, tight copy on a social media post, all you have to do in order to turn that into a book is to expand on it. The same is true for if you've written a book, how you get all the other content that you need is to shrink it. So you're just picking apart pieces of it. One of my favorite things that my pastor shared with me while I was preparing for a different sermon at my church, it was when my first book, Save the Butter Tubs, came out, and he was so gracious to let me launch the book. We launched it pre book release a week before at my church during the church service. So it was the sermon, and we did it a little bit Q&A style. But when I was preparing for that and I was giving him questions and things like that, I was coming up with all these different ideas. And he said to me, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Well, I'm preparing." And he's like, "You've already written the book. 60,000 words. Why are you writing more words? Go to your book and pull the words." And he was so right. And it's the same thing around, and I teach this to my authors in my coaching program, my coaching membership online. I teach my authors this. This is how you take your book and then pull copy out for your social media posts, for your blog posts, for if you're doing an interview, go through your book and ask what questions would lead people back to the book. What questions would the answer be your book, right? Get them to ask you those kind of questions. It's the same concept. So you're taking the larger piece of work and chopping it up into smaller pieces, expanding on the ideas. Maybe you're the topic of the book, then you can take out the topic and expand on it. I just taught this the other week to an author. This is like way big bonus here, but you can actually take your table of contents. So for instance, in this book, I have 16 chapters. You could take your table of contents, and right there, those 16 chapters could then become 16 social media posts. They could become 16 blog posts. They could become 16 articles if I'm submitting them somewhere, 16 different speeches. The list goes on and on and on, right? I'm taking the content that I've already written and I'm adapting it, either shrinking or expanding for the space that I need to fit it into. So I have done this with this book, particularly time after time again, over speeches. I've taken the framework, broken it down, and expanded it or contracted it depending on how long I have to speak, if I have just a few moments, or if I have an hour and a half. So, or if I'm teaching a workshop, all very different time frames, and you can expand and contract accordingly. So to recap, what kinds of writing are you doing? What kind do you enjoy doing? Start with that. If you enjoy blogging more than you enjoy writing a book, if you enjoy writing social media posts more than you like writing a book, think of it that way. Think of writing a small social media post and then just write another one and another one and another one. And before you know it, you're going to have a whole chapter. I have a friend, I'm going to shout out Melanie. I know that she used to do this. Back in the day, we were writing partners, and she was really heavy into Twitter at the time. And she would tweet out her thoughts, and then she went back and gathered them up. And she's like, this is all part of my book. And it's very wise because they're your words, you're already using them. So why not multiply the effort, right? Multiply how you're using them. So which one do you enjoy writing? Do you enjoy writing the blog posts? Maybe you enjoy writing just straight into the book. Maybe you enjoy writing social media posts, or maybe you enjoy starting with the back cover copy because this is the purpose of your book. This is the problem it's solving for your reader. This is the marketing piece that's going to attract readers. So maybe you enjoy writing this part first. If that's you, start here. Start here. Map it out, figure it out, and then go expand on it in each chapter. Maybe it's emails. Maybe you enjoy writing emails. You enjoy it because it's more conversational and you can talk to your readers. Great. Write more emails and write them in a way that you can then use that content for your book. Maybe you're sharing a plot idea or a chapter idea or something in your email, and then later you're pulling that over and actually putting it in your book. The same goes with product descriptions. If you are, like for this book, I told you earlier, if I was putting this book on my website, which I think it's on my website, I know it's there in bulk, but if it was there as a single item or whether it's in bulk, you're simply going to take the marketing piece you've already written and put it over there as a product description and then expand on it. It's really that simple. If you're here watching live today, let me know what piece of writing you like the most. So let me recap. Do you like writing just straight as a book, a blog, a blurb or back cover copy, speeches, marketing pieces, whether that's a social media post, you like writing the graphic content, what like the one-liner, the zinger that's going to go on the graphics, maybe you like writing emails, or maybe you like actually writing product descriptions. What part of writing for an author business do you enjoy the most? So let me know in the comments. What do you enjoy the most? Which one do you love writing? I personally love writing blog posts because I write them very personal. And a long time ago, a colleague of mine shared this with me, and I share it with my authors, that if you write as if you are writing to your reader all the time. So for instance, I like to call my reader Eve because she's a lot like me and she likes to try to be in control of things that maybe she's not really in control of. So I like to call her Eve. It's a direct reflection of me. But I will often write a blog post and I will be thinking to myself, or sometimes I actually write it, Dear Eve, and then I'll start writing it. At the end, I always take that part off, but it just helps the conversationally, it becomes more conversational. The same in a book. If I'm writing to Eve, I will specifically think of her, Dear Eve, as I'm writing. And sometimes I'll write it in there and then take it out later. So anyway, that's what I love. Tell me what you love in the comments, what kind of writing you love. Even if you're watching the replay, just type in replay. Let me know what it is what type of writing you love, and then you will expand on it or contract it depending on how you're using it. So if you're using it, taking your one piece of content, your one idea, whether that's your book, or you've already written a speech and you're expanding it into a book, or you're shrinking it into a speech, whatever that is for you, you will expand and contract, and get these little pieces. So all the pieces that I mentioned earlier, you will be able to get if you expand and contract the same piece of content. So again, recapping, let me know what type of writing you enjoy. Blogs, books, blurbs, speeches, marketing posts, including graphic posts or graphic content, emails, and product descriptions. That's just to list a few. And then if you happen to have another option, as I do with the Writer's Retreat box, where I'm including a devotional and a writing exercise in that box, I'm also writing those things. So let me know. Maybe you're a coach and you're writing lessons, or you're writing curriculum for your readers. Let me know if that's something that you enjoy writing. I look forward to hearing your answers and to hearing what inspires you. And until next time, we will be back next Wednesday early. So I'll see you next Wednesday at 9 a.m. See you then.